What's up guys, Joey here of YugaTech, and the other day, we uploaded our unboxing and hands-on video of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 7. And in that video, we literally just brushed over the phone's cameras. And some of you were saying in the comments that the 48 megapixel option is in the Pro mode, it's not a real 48 megapixel camera, it uses pixel binning, it only has 12 megapixel native output. Yes, I know. Calm down. Calm down. That's why we're here today for a quick camera test of the Redmi Note 7. Now by this point, I'm sure you've seen articles or videos explaining how the Redmi Note 7's 48 megapixel rear camera actually works. So the TLDR, the phone uses a Samsung GM1 48 megapixel processor, but the Snapdragon 660 only natively supports up to 25 megapixels. So what's happening is that the Redmi Note 7's photo output is actually only 12 megapixels, but the pixels themselves are bigger, 1.6 microns instead of 0.8 microns. So bigger pixels, more data, more information, cleaner, brighter image, better dynamic range, there you go. But, the technicality of it aside, here are quick impressions of the Redmi Note 7's rear cameras. So in our hands-on video, we said that while detail is good, even for the non-pixel bin shots, overall color saturation is lacking, especially with the skin tones. But after spending a little more time figuring out what the deal is, we found that the AI mode does the work. Take this shot for instance. With AI turned off, it looks pretty decent, right? But when we turn AI on, suddenly, the green in the leaves are a lot more vibrant and the flowers are way brighter, a lot more pink. We also see the same thing in this next shot with this close-up of another plant. And even when we move on to a different subject, buildings, we're given a more dynamic shot with AI on. The blue in the sky has been accentuated and the buildings are a tad bit brighter, so that your attention is more drawn to them. So just like with the AI scene detection of other phone brands, this one does what it's supposed to do. It identifies the subject, applies the appropriate settings to make it look better. But what I like about the Redmi Note 7 is that it's not too overdone. And very quickly, let's take a look at portrait mode. Xiaomi's camera software is actually pretty good when it comes to this stuff. Not to the same level as other companies like Google or Apple, but coupled with that secondary lens, it's pretty good. Subject background separation, even with hair, works great, and the blur has a real natural look to it too. Okay, so before we go and check out the last two modes, let's head into Pro mode and turn on the 48 megapixel setting. Now starting with these shots, yes sir, things do seem to have improved a tiny bit. For the shot with 48 megapixel mode turned on, dynamic range is better and we get a little bit more detail. The buildings in the back are slightly brighter and we don't lose any detail in the sky. Colors are washed out for both shots, but since the overall image is kinda flat, this is easily fixed in post. For this next shot, I can't say there's much of a difference. There is, but it's only very slight. The 48 megapixel one is slightly brighter, the edges of the spring and the wood grain are sharper, but only barely. But now, when we get into a night shot, that's more like it. I mean, the 48 megapixel one isn't really a usable image per se, but it's definitely a lot better than a normal shot, which, if you haven't noticed, we could barely even lock focus for this scene. The former is, again, brighter and packs more dynamic range. So, what's the deal with the Redmi Note 7's 48 megapixel setting? Well, it doesn't always do a lot, but when it does, it makes a noticeable enough difference. I'm not saying it's useless, no. If, for example, you're taking a photo with the Redmi Note 7 and you have the time to switch over to Pro mode and activate the 48 megapixel setting, then I strongly recommend you do so. Even if it's slight, it's still an improvement. Now let's talk about the dedicated night mode really quick. And, well, it's not terrible. Sure, the image isn't much cleaner than the normal shot, but our exposure is way more balanced. The lights in the middle right aren't overblown, The buildings are more detailed even though they're generally noisy, and we get a darker sky. And moving on, to wrap this up, video. So the phone can shoot up to 1080p at 30 FPS. For low light video, meh, it's almost hopeless. It struggles to even lock focus for wider scenes like this, but with a close-up shot, there still is a ton of noise. But there's also a lot of natural nice bokeh. So I guess if you do want to shoot video at night with this phone, then make sure your subject is close and has a bit of light shining on it. For daytime video, things look a lot better. Stabilization isn't perfect, it can get a little bit jittery from time to time, but overall it's pretty good. Exposure adjusts quickly, and as long as things are nice and bright, you don't really lose focus. The footage is decently sharp, colors are sufficient, but they could use a little bit of a saturation boost. So yeah, there you have it guys. That was our quick camera test and impressions for the Xiaomi Redmi Note 7. Aside from its price and internals, true 48 megapixels or not, I think the cameras are another thing that will make it even more of a budget king. So thanks for watching guys. You know what to do. Leave a dislike if you're an asshole, but if you enjoyed the video, please do drop a like, subscribe for more content, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos, and be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Joey, and I'll see you guys in the next one.